We projected a V-shaped recovery for our business and a number of sectors we deal with, and we're really starting to see that. What this slide shows is our on-hand inventory for our open orders, again, for our farm and ranch equipment as well as steel service centers. The blue line is, you can see, has dipped well below our target areas, and we are facing a significant negative inventory for open orders. Our challenges we have seen from that relate a lot to personnel. We laid off a number of employees, and bringing them back has been a challenge. The workforce, whether they have moved on to other areas, either of Texas or part of the country for work that they could find. So we're seeing a significant backlog in open orders for us. We continue to scramble to meet our customers' needs, and our business is strong, and so we're continue to see that and the challenges that we face with that.
Money is so cheap, and the reason why money is so cheap is the Fed has backstopped a lot of problematical loans. I can tell you that some of the steel companies have borrowed a lot of money at very high interest rates that they will have to pay back, but those debts were snapped up very quickly by investors because the federal government, basically the Fed, has basically backstopped any potential losses on them. So it's really a strange situation.
This is my last slide. I want to talk about Trump and Biden a little bit. Look, Mr. Biden will roll back 232. He will. He's going to roll back funding towards the border wall. That's going to lower steel demand. He's going to try an infrastructure package. It's going to be really hard to see how that's going to come off. No one has agreed on anything on that. It's a very horrible situation in Washington on infrastructure. No one has the right idea about this. It's going to be a long time before it happens. It'll come piecemeal. Corporate tax rate. Biden's going to increase from 21% to 28%. It's going to hurt the steel industry. But the United Steelworkers are for Mr. Biden. Why? Because they're unions. And the problem was, under the Trump administration, no steel jobs were really protected, especially not in right-to-work states, because everybody had all these issues with supply chain. They had to let go of people, idle plants, COVID happened. So the steel industry is really looking for an ally, and they're going to want Mr. Biden to protect them, protect their jobs. So I'll just say, I think 232 was more pain than gain. And if Mr. Trump does stay in office, you're going to expect more of the same and more about a reliance on domestic operations and getting your supply chain back home. But if Mr. Biden's elected, you're going to see some elasticity in relationships with Brazil, potentially India, if you have some import strategy there. Don't expect any favors on China. And hopefully, things might turn around in the industry if we get an infra deal done. But that's all from Washington. Hopefully that was helpful.
Oh yeah, I mean, we don't. One thing is, I always like when people ask me, we're at the top of the market, we're at the bottom of the market. There's no way to tell you're at the bottom or at the top of any market. They don't ring a bell and say, hey, it's only going to go up from now on. That's baloney. You don't know when the bottom is reached and the top has been reached until maybe 6 months or a year after it happened. And you're going to have a lot of hiccups before and after that. So no, we don't know. And the idea of us predicting wildly that we're in a V-shaped recovery is absolutely crazy. We're hoping that's the case. That's all we're doing. Maybe it's an unfulfilled hope, but that's it. And to bet expansion, the only reason you're doing expansion is because you could do it cheaply right now. But you got to ask, okay, so I doubled the size of my steel mill, or I had another 50,000 tons of capacity. Who's going to buy the crap? Who's going to be the ultimate consumer going to turn around? And usually when they talk about supply demand, when I talk to a producer, they talk about their next level. When I talk about supply demand, I look at the ultimate level rather than the next level. And I see a lot of uncertainty about what that ultimate level is going to do in 2021. Not what's going on right now in 2020, because that's euphoria. And euphoria is it's a dangerous drug.
Well, again, like I noted, your mini mills, your Big River, SDI, Nucor's capacity utilization is actually a lot higher than the 63% that's being reported. I know Mark Millick with SDI briefed here recently another conference and talked about, maintaining 80+%, through a lot of this. So, I think the integrated, obviously you're getting there's still a lot offline. I think capacity is a huge issue moving forward into 2021, 2022. And I just, maintaining an 80% or continuing to increase across the board, I think it's going to be a struggle, but you see a lot of the companies evolving. Electric arc furnace getting put in at the Calvert. JSW is continuing to invest in electric arc. You look at U.S. Steel and their partnership potential, with Big River Steel moving forward. I mean, kind of future's kind of written on the wall. I think there's going to be some very smart players that evolve, and then others are going to be left behind. And there's lots of expansion coming. So that has to play. Holding across the board, again, getting back to an 80%, which is, was the goal of what Essence 232, and to continue production. U.S. I think it's going to be a challenge.
Congress is doing everything they can. Everyone reads the same news. We know what's going on. But for instance, there's something called the Safe and Healthy Workplace Tax Credit, which I really like, which is a provision that came out of Senator Grassley's office, which gives a company who puts in or institutes any measures to create a safe and healthier workplace to get tax credits for that. Any kind of benefits like that, where if you're an essential business with essential workforce, you should be able to offer your employees premium pay on the government's dime for staying in operations and helping the country get back up on its feet. There's a number of programs out there that we help our clients tap into and get that money. And not just from the federal government, the governor's offices. For instance, if you have operations in Texas right now, Governor Abbott has $6.7 billion sitting in a fund that he has no idea what to do with. It's my job, and this is what I do, to go and talk to his office and say, here's X company, and they need some of that for this reason. So don't be shy to talk to government. They can be extremely helpful, but you have to talk to them. The last thing I'll mention is on what COVID has done for business operations. Interestingly enough, visas have been a very big issue for companies operating in the United States right now. If you have any international experts that come in through L1A or L1B visas or B1 visas for installations, USCIS and DHS just aren't issuing you those visas because of the president's new proclamation that he issued a few months back, where he's not going to issue any new visas. This was all meant for the Department of Labor to stimulate new job growth. The DOL said, we can create 500,000 jobs if you stop issuing these visas. The president said, all right, I'll stop them. But that's created a lot of issues for your big M&M guys like Nucor. They have a lot of projects right now in Kentucky, for instance, where they need to bring in experts from Italy or wherever to come and install this equipment. And they can't bring them in because they can't get them visas. So it's interesting how COVID created a lot of problems that you would have never seen. And I think now it's just a matter of talking to them and making sure they understand what your needs are, because anyone in the steel ecosystem is important to the president. So it's just all a matter of delivering that message.